Grove Unified School District with mostly elementary age students. We have an IEP meeting coming up for a 3rd grade girl where there will be parents, a psychologist and pediatrician, grandparents, and an advocate. You have been seeing the student for almost 2 years to address her limitations of oral language, including morphosyntax, semantics, and discourse. She is now struggling with written language as well. Prepare for the meeting by providing one possible explanation for why she might be struggling with written language. Then be specific in your plan, general goals, and rationales to address both oral and written language with your educational team. Finally, discuss how you will evaluate progress for the purpose of documenting performance on the IEP.
So basically the explanation that we came up with that had a lot of evidence was that written language basically mirrors our abilities in oral language. So as you know, the language systems are interconnected, so speaking, listening, reading, and writing, and so they develop in overlapping and parallel ways. And so they share many different components such as vocab, sentence construction. We have a variety of different studies and places that kind of overlap in terms of what they have found. So like vocabulary and word reading were greatly associated with overall writing ability in children ages 11 to 16 according to that study. Writing has the potential to be affected by oral language and reading. ASHA has this thing as well that talks about how spoken language and writing are interrelated, so that one builds upon the other. In children with SLI particularly, we see different problems like with acquisition, processing, and production of oral language, as well as phonological difficulties, working memory, limitations in processing capacity and speed. So they have a lot of other, difficulties with language that, kind of pile up when you consider writing, when you take writing into account. And so what you can see in their writing, they have decreased productivity, complexity, and accuracy. So basically productivity, decreased number of words and lexical diversity. And then these are some specific ones that we found, like adjectives and adverbs particularly. In terms of complexity, their percent of complex sentences are decreased compared to their typically developing peers. And then their accuracy in terms of spelling and grammatical errors are also increased. Well, actually more errors. And then these are some particular ones that we found that were harder. So like the verbs to be, the unit prepositions, pronouns, inflectional morphology, and I found one article that said especially in their writing you can see difficulties with past tense, ED, and regular plurals. And then there's just more information there overall, like what they have difficulty with. So yeah, oral language difficulties are related to their ability to produce written text, kind of like what we were talking about. They have fewer words per clause, fewer coordinating sentences, so it's just giving like a list of the things that they have had difficulty with and different places where we found those.
Yeah, I think the next few things are just kind of evidence to back it up, just lots of articles and resources that kind of hone in on the fact that written language reflects oral language, and even when the oral language gets better, you'll see those errors persist in written language, just because when kids start writing, they're forced to use all these different skills, and yet they have this compromised system in general. So they have a hard time with working memory, they already have phonological deficits, so when they're forced to not only think about that and organize it in their head, but then write it down on paper, it's like using all those things that they're bad at. So it's going to be reflected in their writing as they get older. So then some things that we would probably want to work on, which isn't really part of the question, but it's part of the fact that you need to make goals, would be handwriting or fluency. So this is like how quickly and efficiently they can write. because that really limits their ability to write more complex passages. And kind of, if you can't spell and you're having to write, it's just going to take you so much longer to do everything. You're going to forget what you're doing. And there's an article about that we listed. So you want to work on spelling, processing, like organizing their thoughts before they write them down, literacy, reading. So the more they read, the better that their writing will probably be. And morphological awareness in their speech and in their language and in their writing. So making sure that all the morphemes are there and increasing the complexity of their utterances. So those are just some the evidence for that is right in that paragraph. And then I can do the first 2 ones. Okay, so we have a lot of goals listed. It's probably not realistic to work on all of them if it was in a school, but and since we don't really know about the level of this kid, we're just kind of given a general idea of like he's improved or she's improved, and now is showing writing. We don't know if like she's improved so much that you don't notice that she has a language deficit anymore, and it's only apparent in her writing. So the goals can kind of be crafted to that if need be. But so we would want, I think the first thing we decided to actually work on was, they're out of order, but we would want to target semantics first. And so there's some evidence on why you would want to target this, and it just makes sense in general to like target vocabulary, because that's going to increase the complexity of the writing. So we made some goals, and we found some common core standards that we related them to. So they will improve their semantics through naming synonyms and antonyms for 20 grade level vocab words. They will demonstrate understanding of 70 new grade level vocab words through describing 3 attributes. And they will use temporal vocabulary to describe a sequence of given pictures with minimal verbal prompting. And so it's related to the Common Core standard under it. But that not only works on vocabulary, but it works on their ability to apply that vocabulary in like a storytelling kind of way. And then hopefully that will translate into when they write, it will make it very fluid. Okay, and then we would want to work on grammar and morphosyntax, so the bound morphemes and conjunctions, and you can just kind of like glance over the goals there, but they're both related to Common Core standards as well.
Quick comment. The CAMD article that we read for tonight had all those example goals in it, so maybe reference those.
Yeah.
And yeah, feel free to tweak anything too. Like, we give you some examples, but if you want to like change anything else.
Yeah.
So we want to discuss.
Yeah. Am I the right one? Yeah.
Okay. So the third area you want to target, because they said that she was struggling in her writing, is it's kind of a 2-part goal. So we're having her orally explain or retell a topic and fill out a graphic organizer with us, and then translate what she's done on that graphic organizer to a written paragraph. So they kind of fall in line, but the first goal we have there is she will verbally express or describe a given topic with at least 3 supporting details in order to complete a graphic organizer related to a specific writing topic. And then the second one is it's more of a narrative retell. So it's identifying those components in a story to help with the retell. So student will name the characters, setting and plot of a grade level reading passage with minimal support. And then so with our help, once she can identify or at least verbally say that, we would help them fill out a graphic organizer. So it kind of sets up an outline for how she would just turn that into a paragraph. And then the last one is student will write a cohesive 4 to 5 sentence paragraph on a given topic when using the previously worked upon graphic organizer with minimal assistance like we had. And then we put the Common Core standards underneath of those there that we thought fit with the results.
We're evaluating progress. Pretty much a lot of it we put into our goals. But we would also like to use the SALT analysis to look at type token ratio to give us an idea of the number of different words that she is using. You want to look at her syntax, mean length of utterance, punctuation, capitalization, paragraph indentations, apostrophes, quotation marks, and spelling. We also would like to look at the NSS scoring rubric to look at her ability to tell a story, which is the rubric that we saw in the last class. We also want to observe her syntax during classroom activities and look at her writing in class to see how she's improving.